It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lights. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery.
Double thumbs up from Greg Cote to just the idea of Miller Lite.
I'm telling you, I'm their biggest customer.
Dan, like all good things, it went away with the pandemic. But with a hole-in-one, the roars of the crowd, beer cans being thrown onto the green, overweight white men taking their shirts off to celebrate, and really making you wonder if golf should be called a sport. Dan, make no mistake about it. The greatest hole in golf, the 16th hole at TPC Scottsdale, is back.
Next year you're going. We got to promise the audience. You were so close to surprising them at the end of the Super Bowl. Next year you're going. We need to put the plans in place right now. Stugotz in the middle of whatever's happening at the Waste Management Open.
Well, the Super Bowl will be happening, so they're in the same place next year. Mike Ryan and I are planning on going to the Waste Management Open next year, right?
They were
Is that
close.
a date?
They were close to the
We've
same.
spoken it into existence.
Yes.
Just like we did last year.
They were close to in the same place this year. There was going to be a bus. You were going to ride over there. You were going to throw Miller Lite beer cans on the course.
Yes.
Next year
Next year.
in a suit.
Maybe. But next year. Kevin Durant said James Harden doesn't need to explain why he wanted out of Brooklyn. Translation: KD knows what it's like to be a ring-chasing loser.
Oh,
What happened there?
I mean,
what happened there? I don't even know if I wrote that. It's so
loser,
long ago.
Loser.
He hasn't won anything.
Loser strong.
Justice Winslow is a trailblazer. So is Josh Hart. You know that?
I did. I saw the box score the other day. I saw the box score when they beat the Lakers.
Yeah. Dan, the Winter Olympics used to mean something. Top 5 U.S. Winter Olympians. You ready?
I don't know. This is very exciting. Top 5 ever. Are any of them going to be from the last 30 years?
We'll see. Number 5, Bill Johnson. Downhill skier, 1984 games, Lake Placid, won the gold for the U.S. downhill skiing. How about that? Billy Johnson. Number 4, Jim Craig. Goalie for the U.S. hockey team. Miracle on ice. Beat Russia for the gold, but it wasn't really the golds. It was just to get to the golds.
How many on this team are going to be making on this
I was
list?
thinking about putting all of them.
I thought you were going to put the 80 Olympic hockey team at each one of the 5 positions.
But then I would have to leave out number 3, Eric Heiden, speed skater.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Big time.
Thank you.
So none of these are going to be from the last 30 years.
Well, we'll see. Number 2.
You haven't watched in 30 years.
Christy Yamaguchi.
Yes.
How about that?
The gooch.
Yeah.
I don't think that's accurate.
It is.
The gooch.
I don't think that's
It's
accurate.
probably not. Number 1, Dan. Not only the biggest goal in the history of the Olympics, but the biggest goal in the history of hockey, period. And sports, perhaps. Mike Garuzioni. Thank you. How about that? That's a good list.
You're saying thank you, but you got no applause.
Greg gave me a little tap. Yeah.
That's a great list.
Yeah.
That's a great list.
not-
Fantastic.
Not a great list.
My apologies, by the way, to Brian Boitano and Peekaboo Street. Both deserving.
Wow. Honorable mention.
Yep. And Scotty Hamilton. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like
and
it.
Peggy Fleming.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dorothy Hamill.
Jeez.
Legends.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Used to mean something.
Yeah.
Tanya Harding.
of
See
course.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Name any Winter Olympian from the last 20 years. I dare you. Go ahead.
Brian Boitano.
Is Apollo...
Anton. Oh, no. Apologies to him. Great speed skater. Sal Palantonio's detail that the Cincinnati Bengals breakfast would be grab and go was totally unnecessary.
Say that word again. The what? What was grab and go?
Breakfast would be grab and go.
I love that you eat the middle of breakfast.
I'm hungry. Was totally unnecessary, yet it's what makes Sal one of the best in the business. Sal Pal, the natty. What a great detail. Grab and go. Who cares? I do.
You do. Yeah, well, is it a great detail if you don't care? You just want, it's reporting. Sal Pal has been doing it a long time.
He's telling you, hey, I'm there. I saw it was a grab and go. That's fantastic reporting, but unnecessary. My day would have been just the same without it.
But he wanted you to know that he was there.
Yeah.
And you felt like you were there because he's Sal Pal, because Sal Pal and his fake teeth were there.
Oh, he's got great teeth. Steve Young said with a win, Matthew Stafford would not only win a Super Bowl, but also make it to the Hall of Fame. Seems like a lot to put on a guy. Also, it's a ridiculous way to do this, yet I totally agree with Steve Young. That's crazy. Steve Young is the go-to media guy when it comes to getting a monkey off your back.
I love it. Really
It
is.
is.
If we're going to do a radio show from 30 years ago, Stugotz, the funny thing to see in media analysis is Joe Montana saying that the 49ers have to stick with their starting quarterback, Jimmy G, the incumbent, and Steve Young saying it's time to go to the backup, Trey Lance. Like, they both lived all of that.
Yeah.
I don't think they were ever friends because they were both on the same team. And it's just
Montana's right, though.
it's
right?
just great. It's just great that it is. That's all. That
Yeah.
the two of them would take the positions that just reflect their own lives.
Sean McVay on Super Bowl week said he's focused on family and work-life balance. Hey, Sean, how about you focus on winning a Super Bowl? I regret writing that.
That was it.
They were down when I wrote it.
You wrote it when they were down. There were a
Yeah.
lot of people getting on LeBron because his team's sub 500, and he had the audacity to enjoy the Super Bowl with some liquor in his hand. And I'm like, man, we still got some of those people out there.
Yes,
They're still out there saying that athletes shouldn't enjoy themselves at life when losing.
they're right. Focus on basketball.
Okay.
Less watching, more winning.
Okay. So LeBron needs to not be laughing at the Super Bowl, Stugotz.
He shouldn't even go to it.
He has to have fewer.
Sit in the gym and shoot jumpers.
Okay.
A workout video during the Super Bowl would be a statement.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the ropes.
Yes.
Right. With a TV turned off in the background.
What did you guys think of his commercial? He's getting into the Bitcoin frenzy. He wants,
he's being paid to get into it.
Well, I
Yeah.
know,
It's a
but
different thing.
I
you know?
I know.
I
And
feel like someone's taking my money. Someone's handing him money to be in it.
Right. And it ain't a Bitcoin.
you don't know that, actually.
I don't, but I'm assuming it.
You think Larry David accepted Bitcoin?
I do.
He's paid in cash.
I think he's got prudent financial people who might be better around an app than he is.
Cold, hard cash. Stacks of it.
He's like 80, honestly. He's going to be waiting around for the Bitcoin thing to boom.
He also has an unlimited fountain of money from Seinfeld's
That's right.
syndication.
That
Like
is-
he can afford a few
You know what,
million in
Guillermo?
Bitcoin.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does Larry David have an actual, literal fountain of money forever spewing cash in his home?
He's only 74. He just has looked 80 for as long as I've
Forever.
seen
It's
him.
like,
really
Relative.
is.
it's
Yeah.
like Bill Snyder. I call it Bill Snyder syndrome.
Don't think we've ever had an NBA MVP whose last name started with M. Looks like Joel Embiid might be the first. I was wrong. Moses Malone. Bob McAdoo. It's a very long way to go to make a bad joke. Did you think the Embiid part was funny?
I did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mirthful.
Should I have stopped it there?
Mirthful. Mirthful.
Thank you. What's that mean?
Chris Whittingham just held his heart in his hand, or not actually, but just held his hand over his
He's a
heart because he
serial
was
killer.
so touched by the usage of the word mirthful.
That's a wonderful word. It's what I need
you.
to incorporate into my vernacular.
Thank you.
What's that mean? How you guys doing? Where was it? Headline. Pack ready to go all in to keep Aaron Rodgers. My headline. You're a decade late. An annual tradition, unlike any other. The gift of no sex for my wife on Valentine's Day.
no.
What happened there?
Oh,
I
no.
can't believe I put it in there.
Oh, no. That wasn't
Well, I didn't put it in there.
It wasn't. Was it? That's a weekend. You know how? Wait a minute. I need the audience.
Mike.
I need the audience. Cody is now coughing with laughter. That's how good the I put it in there joke was. That it has given Greg Cody a coughing fit. Of course, you haven't heard from him from the last 90 minutes because we told you he'd be spent.
Got his inhaler.
His inhaler is now actually out. We told you that we were going to dust him off, but I want the audience to pause for a moment as he sucks vigorously from the inhaler. I want the audience to understand that the spectacularly lazy Stugotz, who often reads things that he should have edited that are simply wrong, but is so lazy that he just leaves them in there, just gave you a Valentine's Day observation that was freshened up and recent and not at all this weekend. Like he decided to file his sexual complaints with his wife in the weekend observations on the ride in today.
Thank you for the extension. Not her.
Hell yeah.
That's a fresh intake that he put in the notes app on the way in. He's like bitter with close to 50-year-old resentment. God damn it. My wife won't give me sex, not even on Valentine's Day. I'm telling everybody.
I got her.
But you didn't.
Nope. That's what Sundays are. Can you imagine if it fell on a Sunday, Val?
Whoa.
Well, Super Bowl Sunday couldn't have had sex in it as well, right? Just couldn't have had. I'm sorry to get in there, but it's like you've eaten all that food and you're disgusting.
Yeah.
It's is there less or more sex? Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Late night Super Bowl Sunday. More sex in America than average or less sex in America than average?
I mean, people have been drinking all day, right?
Uh-huh. But they've also been burping and farting all day.
That's a good point.
So I don't know.
I mean, the Rams were in it, ramming it.
It's a great point. Oh, sorry, Ed. I'm not. Just me? Or is Patrick Beverley played on every team in the NBA?
It really is unbelievable.
He's with the T-Wolves now.
How many teams? How much money did they give him? They gave him.
I don't know.
They gave him like $12 or $13 million. So how many teams is it now for Patrick Beverley? Is it not that much? Because it feels like he's been on all of them, but it might not even be that many.
It's been on 3.
That's it?
What?
That is shocking.
Wow.
Because the Heat didn't count because I think he was only a summer league or a preseason participant. So he's been a Rocket, he's been a Clipper, and a T-Wolf.
Wow.
But it feels like more. Stugotz is right. It feels like it should be more than 3.
The most shocking thing that happened over the weekend was that George Hill still lives in the same city. Holy shit. The Rock is good at that. They should have given The Rock the Super Bowl MVP.
Wow, you loved it. Why didn't you say that yesterday?
I did say it yesterday. You weren't listening. It's fine. $1. I thought The Rock was good. I thought it was a nice touch. I mean, listen, the guys on the field, perhaps they don't have to be fired up for the Super Bowl. That goes without saying. They are fired up for the Super Bowl, but he got me fired up sitting on my couch.
You got goosebumps with a athletic cliche speech, speech.
Yeah. I just liked it.
How did you feel about it, Greg?
Greg hated it.
Yeah, I didn't like it much. It was superfluous, and like you say, it was all full of cliches and everything.
How did the group feel about it? What was is there a consent? Well, there's not a consensus opinion
I don't
about
think
anything.
they liked it.
But if I asked, okay, put it on the poll as well. We didn't ask this yesterday at LeBatard Show. Was The Rock introduction awkward? And also, are you shocked that Patrick Beverly has only played for 3 teams?
Was Chevy trying to say that if you buy an electric truck, you'll feel like a gangster? Did you see that one? It's weird.
I did not see, the Sopranos one?
Yeah. Electric truck.
Yeah.
I confused that with another commercial where Tom Brady is charging up at an electrical stand, putting it in his chest. So I'm sorry. I don't know what all these commercials are for.
I understand. After Odell Beckham Jr. went out, I got nervous anytime Stafford threw a pass to anyone other than Cooper Kupp. Joe Burrow, do it in the Super Bowl. If I were the Bengals, I would have dropped 11 in coverage and put all of them on Cooper Kupp.
I think they did that. I think they did that, and Matthew Stafford still says, okay, and what about if I do it no look? Then what are you going to do? What are you going to do when I throw it to him anyway? Because I know exactly how to throw it to him and where to throw it to him.
Do you know how open Strazenik must have been? Whatever his name is.
You're getting worse and worse with his name. How do you spell his name? It's SKOLERNICKWICWXY, the symbol for boron.
Yes. L.A., congratulations on surviving all of St. Louis's pain and finally getting a Super Bowl. I wish Aaron Rodgers would flirt with the Rams so Matthew Stafford could see just how flimsy his relationship is with Sean McVay. Joe Burrow, don't worry about it. You'll get back to plenty of big games. Just ask Dan Marino.
Oof.
Hey, America, how you feeling this morning? Exactly why it should be Super Bowl Saturday. We'll get to that, though. I was supposed to read these yesterday.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But then I would have not gotten the sex joke in.
That's right.
Thanks for the extension.
Which wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
You came in here today with
It's the only serious thing here.
You came in today
Had an
with,
agenda, Dan.
with the hardened resentment of a husband.
Oh, God. She's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're going to be in trouble on Valentine's Day, I think. If once it doesn't,
Next year's?
it doesn't get back to Abby is what you're betting on there, right? She's not going to like that.
I'm hoping it does not get back to her, yes. She used to watch us live.
She's not firing up the YouTube these days.
Eric Weddle retired again, but he'll be back. Eric Weddle will always be back.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Will Eric Weddle always be back?
You know what they say, Dan? An apple a day keeps the Lombardi away. Van Jefferson, the Lombardi Trophy, and a baby. Hell of a night. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Did a Bengal have it worse than Eli Apple? He's the one who got mocked on the internet. No one else gets the mockery, right? Even though Aaron Donald, you still don't know who those offensive linemen were who couldn't block Aaron Donald, right? Like they don't get the shame that Eli Apple gets because he's Eli Apple.
Well, he's out there on an island. It's him and Cooper Kupp. You could see it happen. Like, we don't know what happens in the trenches. We don't know many of their names. We know his name, though. I mean, he's out there. Everyone knew they were going to Cooper Kupp, and they still got it there.
But why does everyone know Eli Apple's name? Because he's a first-round pick? Because he failed?
First-round pick, New York Giants.
Failed with the Giants.
Giants.
And so that's one of the names that's going to exist in the sport. Are there many others that were rooting for them or rooting to laugh at them or are
He was doing the Freddie Mitchell stuff, too. It was relayed by his defensive coordinator. He's like, oh, I played with Odell. I got him. I'll lock him up.
Yeah, we've been watching Eli Apple for a while. Like, he played at Ohio State, played in the national championship game, was very good, a first-round pick, and then played in the biggest market, you know?
He went to New Orleans, I think, after that. So this is like his third professional stop. His mom was a part of ESPN's coverage, so he's a pretty prominent guy.
But who are the guys, though, that exist there on that second tier? Because, of course, the Floyd Mayweathers and the villainous guys in sports that you enjoy laughing at and being cruel to are usually more excellent than Eli Apple. But who are the others where you enjoy just dragging them and laughing at them because they've got maybe an overinflated sense of self or they've got some arrogance about them. You just said casually the Freddie Mitchell stuff. That Super Bowl was a long time ago, but it's one of the most uproarious things. Freddie Mitchell would wear a mink and thought he was a lot better receiver than he was, and he would say a bunch of gibberish, and then Bill Belichick was caught sound during the game, I believe, and said to like Peter King, put my name on the quote. Let's find the quote so I don't get it wrong. But
all he does is talk. He's terrible. And you can print that. I was happy when he was in the game.
That's what Bill Belichick said about Freddie Mitchell, which is just a real undressing. And when you show up with a mink and Bill Belichick says that about you, you've been undressed for the entirety of your career.
Wow. Earn that mink.
But give me the other.
I wish I was last night.
Give me the other guys. I don't think that is.
What do you mean?
I don't think.
Undressed.
Oh, not earning. It sounded like, okay. It's a good clarification. Thank you.
I had to make it.
A rare joke from Stugotz that goes over our heads.
I'm playing next level right now, guys.
The sex stuff brought him in like repressed
an energy
and angry.
vampire.
He is.
Greg had to die after the first 2 hours so Stugotz could live.
Thank you. You're welcome.
A happy 50th birthday, 50th to Jaromir Jagr.
Wow.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
He's still playing.
Is he really?
Come on.
Where is he still playing? He's still doing midnight workouts in a gym somewhere with ice with weights on his chest.
That gym is in the Czech Republic.
Of course.
50 years old.
Yep. 50 Cent.
You felt good about that one?
You're taking it bat. You don't know what's going to hit.
Yeah.
He took a vigorous sip from his drink after that, and just take inventory. If you listen to this show in order, you have not heard from Cote for about 90 to 100 minutes. He petered out. If you've missed the first part of today's show, we hit the accelerator with Greg Cote, and we knew we were going to blow an engine. We knew. Mike Ryan was mad at me. He began to get mad at me because he knew I was pressing the gas, and we were almost literally taking his every breath. He has not before needed the asthma inhaler, and so he's going to be real shit for Mike Ryan's beloved musical.
Our musical.
He's just pointing now. He's not even speaking.
Well, you say our musical, but you're the one who's angry, and no one else here is angry that I pressed the gas on Greg Cote, because Maxim and Greg Cote
sharing all the glory and applause, none of the hardship.
I'm gonna bring it. Don't worry about me.
He's back.
Bringing it.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. He says I'm not going to cough during it. I'm like, I'm hoping that you cough during whatever it is your musical performance is. But this is why, Billy, Tuesday is your favorite day. You have been beaming the entire show. Just you gaze longingly at Cote. But we've got to admit, the last 100 minutes or so, Billy, he's been absent.
You guys have been boxing him out. More Greg.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
That's true, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
I rushed for 100 yards in the first quarter. I got tired. I did my work.
Ah, boy.
Met my contract incentive. Now I'm on the bench. That's the way that works in the pros.
Behind.
It was funny watching JT, the guy that's helping us with the musical, watch my dad eat chocolate and coffee this morning. And just like, that's how you're prepping for your recording today. And he's like, what, is this bad? And JT's just like, it's not good.
Right. And then hand me a cigarette. That's all I need.
Atta boy.
I want that. I'm going for that smoky voice.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy.
Do you realize that I have a word association with your father over these last few years that you just said coffee, and I thought you were describing him as an adjective, like that he was eating chocolate and coffee, as in coughing. He was coughing while eating chocolate.
Wow. Soon I'll be in my coffin.
Hey-oh.
Really? I'm
Coffin,
very.
Finally.
He's off the bench. He's back in the game.
Delivery could have been better, but that's a decent Decent joke.
He's
Cough.
tired.
He tied it all together.
Thank you.
There's footage of Joel Embiid and James Harden on the practice court for the first time, and Joel Embiid is arguing with James Harden that his signature step back is indeed a travel.
They're going to hate each other.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun to watch. At LeBatard Show, if you want to critique the show, as many of you love to do, LeBatard Show, since you all live talking politics, you should have on your boy Billy Corbin to discuss the Hillary campaign spying on Donald Trump before and after becoming president. Hashtag Trump was right about everything.
Oh man, everything.
Everything. Come on.
That's crazy.
Everything. Come on. He might have been right about everything except the way he held that Bible after he pepper sprayed the crowd outside the White House.
I saw him look straight into a solar eclipse. He can't be
Come
right about
on,
everything.
not right. That can't be everything. Give me something.
Can't be right when he drew on a hurricane map.
Come on.
That dancing was right though.
I missed the
Yeah.
dance.
Right, here it is.
The dance.
Put it on the poll. Do you miss the way Donald Trump used to dance ejaculating giraffes? It looked like he was ejaculating giraffes. I think that, I don't know the comedian that was making that joke, but I stole that
Do you
joke.
ejaculate giraffes or do you masturbate giraffes?
Enough, Witty.
We'll ask Ron later this week.
Well,
Yeah,
Ron,
seriously.
Ron,
I think Chris is right. I think it's
a good question.
masturbate.
Ron couldn't be on with us last week. I think I've got this right.
Busy ejaculating giraffes.
You got in with the joke, but I'm not sure that the joke is funnier than the reality. He couldn't be on with us last week. I think I have the animal right because he was electro-ejaculating a bull.
I'm sure he was observing.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
I think it was a bull.
Hey.
Chris Whittingham has a very Chris Whittingham take that we will get to in just a second. Go ahead. Chris, Billy, Roy, whatever it is you're laughing about back there, please just go ahead and fire it up.
We're still reveling in Utah jizz, Dan.
And our overall genius that we are.
Yeah.
I just turned around and go, you just blurted jizz for no reason.
Yeah, okay.
What'd you do at work today?
I want to get to some Ed Orgeron sound here. And I
came.
Coach O. Go ahead and play the sound from the Dan Patrick Show because this is a recruiting story I had not heard before. And it's a good one, Stugotz. You have not seen this, but it's a good question from Dan Patrick that elicited a great response from Ed Orgeron.
Man, I loved him. I loved Adrian.
Oklahoma offered a better package to him.
This is a true story. We go down to see Adrian, me and Pete, and his mother ran track at, I think it was at Houston. Wonderful lady. And Adrian and I had a great relationship. He loved Pete Carroll, but I felt like he and I were very tight. One time he says, Coach, I went to this school. He says, Coach, I want you to follow me. I couldn't drive with him. We went 30 miles. I said, I didn't know where we were going. We stopped at this little country store, and he bought a gingerbread cookie. I couldn't buy it for him for supper. And then we went to a basketball game. And we sat in the gym, and I said, what are we doing? He said, you see that guard right there? I got to play him next week. Coach will come and scout him. How about that? Then I said, well, Adrian, what is the key to getting you here at USC? He says, Coach, well, Bob Stoops, my dad is incarcerated. Bob Stoops won't see him. Well, me and Pete Carroll tried to go get him. And to go see him, they wouldn't let us in. But Adrian said, Coach, my dad is be able to watch my games where he's at. Well, if I go to Oklahoma. I tried to get the guy transferred to Los Angeles.
Wait, you tried to get Adrian's dad?
Yeah, that's right.
How does that happen?
I competed. Couldn't get it done, but I competed.
It is a great story.
Fantastic.
The question from Dan Patrick was, who broke your heart? It's a great question, asking of a recruit that broke your heart. And the story is so funny that you can almost get past without noticing how dirty the game has to be for you trying to get someone who's incarcerated to a different jail, so his son does the plow horse work for your offense, so that you in retirement can still be doing the interview circuit and getting your paid $22 million after running off of campus and from the best team we've ever seen from a sex scandal, and now you can just go wildly like that business. That's how corrupt it is at its core that we could laugh at, and we can laugh at it. Really, Coach? Oh, you tried to? Oh, yeah, and Adrian was that good. You might have gone to jail in order to get him. You would have done things to get incarcerated in order to get him on your football team.
Put me in prison for Adrian Peterson.
I'll be his father's bunkmate, and take whatever it is that they'd call me Coach O for a different reason. Really?
Wow.
I don't think it deserved that.
Jizz.
I want to ask you guys about the contract for Al Michaels, because we celebrate, or the reported details on this. We all agree that Al Michaels is a legend. Stugotz is still talking about the 1980 Olympic hockey team. He's been doing it for so long that Do You Believe in Miracles, probably the most famous call ever. Al Michaels was 37 years old in broadcasting when he made one of the most famous calls you've ever heard, if not the most famous.
It's pretty amazing that at the age of 37, starting his career, he was able to capture that moment the way he did. Just an aside there on Al Michaels.
Great for 40 years,
Yeah.
and now still commanding the kind of salary in his 70s. Sports ages people out of all kinds of people. It's not just athletes. It ages everyone out. And you can argue, if not in his prime, still the top of his game, and as the streaming services fight for all the football stuff. And the football stuff, what was the number you guys gave me on how many people watched the Super Bowl? King Sport had how many people watch it?
Over 100 million combined rating on Telemundo and NBC, up 8%.
Plus 11 million more from streaming, mostly on Peacock.
Yeah, it was just under 100 million just on TV, but up from last year's game, which was Bucks and Chiefs.
I'd be curious I'd like to talk to somebody, a reporter who's smart, about what they can tell me whether the Peacock and the Olympic investment has been a good one this year, because it's always been a good one. And when you look at the top 100 shows, every once in a while an Olympics will make it in there. But we've all seen live sports is the big thing. The Olympics has been a television monster for a long time, and I'm not sure it is this year.
Well, I know for WWE Network, WWE on their financial calls, because they're publicly traded, say how many more people are watching their premium live events. That's what they call their pay-per-view events now, because they went from WWE Network, which had its own subscription plan, to a more broad-based subscription service that many Xfinity customers get as a premium throw-in. So more people are experiencing WWE. I wonder what this does mean for the Olympics, or if there's just general Olympic fatigue.
The Beijing hosting it, which is controversial, and then the time difference, the opening game ratings were down 43% from the previous Olympiad.
The Beijing politics, I'm not sure how much it's soaking this stuff, but for me, this is the first time I've talked about it, and purposefully, I don't want to discuss anything around this event. The human rights violations are so bad in China that I believe that the boycott needs to be as strong of everything that's happening there as it can be, while still protecting the dreams of our athletes who have been working very hard to try and compete in this propaganda thing. But to me, it's not just that it's in Beijing, it's the added element of, and no one there is allowed to speak freely about anything, and not allowed, very high cost and danger to making any kind of Jesse Owens type statement at the Olympics of any kind from everybody. And so it feels like a very dishonest Olympics to me in that regard, and that they will not allow anything to get close to the sports propaganda. Like nothing, it's just got to be about the sports, and I'm out there because I can't do much of anything else. We're too addicted to the vices and our relationships with China that all of us have a certain moral fatigue.
Yeah, many people announcing their boycott on iPhones.
I mean, yeah, it's not it's not virtue signaling. Like
I am virtue signaling my boycott. I haven't been interested at all, so I haven't watched.
I'd like to talk to somebody, though, about whether the Olympics as a spending product for television is something that is still viable, as all of this changes very quickly, and the Super Bowl is still king sport. And I want to talk about it through Al Michaels, because we talked yesterday about the idea, no longer far-fetched, that Sean McVay and his agents and his teams, they cannot get a bigger offer by saying that job in football will pay me $20 million more. The only leverage for them anywhere is the idea, whether it's real or not. ESPN wants him for Monday Night Football, and they will pay him more. So he's just won a championship. They're under no obligation to tear up his contract to fix anything.
Tony Romo makes twice as much as Sean McVay does. Think about that.
Okay, but the leverage can't be found in your sport. There is no job in sports. In the coaching of teams, he's locked. His ceiling is whatever it is. He can't make more than Belichick. Right?
Well, I
from
mean,
another team, he can't.
When is his contract up with the Rams? I think it's up. He's entering the lame duck year.
Yes.
Yeah. So he could let that expire and then be free to walk to go to another professional franchise. We have not seen that. Right?
Are you just saying that you can't fathom that a coach would be paid more than Belichick?
No, my point to you guys is, normally in workplaces where the pay is this high for a job, I think, you can get another job of the only 32 that are available to pay you a great deal more than the one where you already are.
Fair. Yes.
But he can't do that.
No.
There's nobody out there that like, how's he going? I mean, I guess he could do it with free agency.
No, he could do it with ESPN.
But
you're right.
This minute, if he wants to renegotiate his contract and at maximum leverage power.
No team is going to pay him double. No.
But where he is right now, you're his agent, lame duck year. This is a very big day for Sean McVay that he just won on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? How do you get your employer? How do you put the leverage and the pressure on your employer right now? At the max of your value, young boy wonder, everyone wants your coaches, you're a genius, you want balance in your life. How do you do it? You and your agents can't do it through football.
No.
It's not available anywhere. No such job,
You have to go through the media. Yes, there is no such job out there that's going to pay him double of what he's currently making.
And until the streamers get in this, I think they're going to start buying the teams, Stugotz. These people, like Apple, these people, you're talking about so much money.
Ridiculous.
Apple and Amazon gobbling up everything.
But these owners don't want to give up those teams, Dan.
Okay, let's stay right where it is right now then.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon might pay $11 million a year for Al Michaels at 77 years old. And I'm asking you guys this question. Does it have that value? Amazon can spill $11 million anyway. If they say something's worth $11 million, it's worth $11 million. It doesn't mean anything to them.
There is a credibility to if you're a new entity trying to get into the game of having Al Michaels being the one that calls your games. I'd go watch the games anyway if that's what you're asking.
The question that Dan keeps asking is, what's that worth? The Olympics, Al Michaels. That's what a lot of these companies ask themselves, because they don't necessarily think they're going to pay for themselves immediately. It's just to drive up subs. Maybe in America, there's a group of passionate, out of every 100, you get 3 people that are super passionate about the Olympics. And out of those 3, 2 forget to cancel their subscription after the Olympics.
Right.
That's what they're banking on.
But are you subscribing for Al Michaels or because they have the NFL? It's for the NFL.
I think Al Michaels lends a credibility to
doubt.
your football coverage. I would personally, since Amazon, even though they've done their side broadcast and Joy Taylor's been involved with, and they had their own broadcast with women commentators voicing these games, I haven't personally experienced an Amazon-produced football broadcast. I would be concerned about it. What can they really do in this space? If they were to bring Al Michaels over there, I'd be like, that's a relief. I can watch with the sound on.
Yeah.
This is safe.
Yeah.
He's still very good at calling games. It's familial to me. I am going to enjoy this broadcast.
We talked, though, the other day, I asked you, and I've made this mistake before, where I talked about the Amazon Prime programming, because at this point, Bezos is making so much money a day that he just farts Amazon Studios. Like, it's just nothing. It doesn't matter. They could just spend on anything. As Apple, competing for all these same dollars, just throws a couple of movies with Tom Hanks behind a paywall and can spend $25 million on Cote. They can just, it's all the money in the world. And Amazon doesn't really have a hit. I like The Boys, and Mike mentioned Fleabag, and Fleabag won all the awards. I don't know if Fleabag was something that made everybody rush to purchase Amazon, which is what you want with Ted Lasso. It's the thing that who's going to buy for a month now because I got them in the door and now I got them. And they're not going to go anywhere because we're going to form habits, and now's the time to change television. In that world, where Amazon Prime has that kind of money, and Amazon Prime doesn't have hits yet. They don't have things that bring a whole lot of people to, like, I've got to see what that's about. And they've got studios, and those studios are spending a ton of money. Al Michaels is worth $100 million, $200 million. Like, somebody who's going to get the subs in there because we got football and we're serious about getting in the football game. Al Michaels doesn't become about the broadcast. It's signaling to everybody we're serious about getting the very best in this business who's been the best for 40 years. And at that price, his agent's going to go in there. And with all these people bidding on this stuff, the gambling money is here. Like, these contracts, Stugotz, are going to go crazy for Adam Schefter, for the insiders, for as all of these people try and get into the big money game of streaming and gambling money. You can't pay Al Michaels enough.
We're getting to the point where Sean Payton, I think in his mind, is already leveraging television against Jerry Jones's money. That's got to be part of his plan. Because
I'm sure it is.
Before Sean Payton actually stepped away, you heard him involved in this musical chairs that's going on between Al Michaels, Troy Aikman, and now Sean Payton because of how Al Michaels reportedly wants to do this broadcast with someone else of repute. And Troy Aikman's name has been floated out there. Well, who do you replace Troy Aikman with? Replace him with Sean Payton. And people are opening the door to all sorts of forbidden possibilities because we can pay an active head coach more money than their franchise can.
But one of the things that has been so stupid about the salary cap in that league that doesn't allow us to see what kind of mess would be made if Jerry Jones and Daniel Snyder decided to compete for Aaron Rodgers in free agency. The fact that has not happened because the salary cap governs these people who can't control their spending and can't control their egos, and we're seeing more and more are often billionaire buffoons. Now Amazon and Apple are sniffing around and saying, we can make your little coaches leaders there. We'll just take them as celebrities so that it's not absurd, the idea that Sean McVay might step down from that job because it's easier to just sit on television once a week and talk on ESPN and bleep around with the Mannings and do whatever it is that he wants to do.
He made the other thing look easy, too.
Yeah, but even if that's not what he wants to do, he still has it as leverage. You're right.
And it's so great to see.
Great. Yeah.
It is so great to see. Okay, Jerry, you can salary cap everybody and run that sport and be the runner of the Billionaire Boys Club among all those buffoons. But let's see what you've got now that Apple and Amazon want part of, like, they want to be partners with you on football. You got Kingsport, you're the power maker. How about if I want Aikman and I want some of these stars too, because I can spill more money than you guys can?
I think McVay has something that most of these candidates don't have. Like, I don't know how good Sean Payton would be at that. Just like I didn't really know how good Witten would be at that.
You're convinced McVay would be good?
I am so convinced Sean McVay would be at it because I've seen him do. He's very media friendly, and he's done a lot of these walking people through plays type of demonstrations for Rams preseason broadcasts, and he's been spectacular at it. I think he combines all the best parts of Romo and Gruden, that energy for the game, but a way to make it super digestible for the fan in ways that not even Romo can in terms of real intricacies.
He's the perfect age. He just won a championship. But why can't NFL teams compete with media to keep somebody like Sean McVay? The salary cap doesn't affect the coaches. Theoretically, they could pay and can afford to pay Sean McVay $20 million.
Yeah, but you have to be willing to evolve in a way I haven't seen those people be capable. All that money's going right now to Goodell. all of it hasn't. Belichick's making plenty, but as you're seeing, all of these individual brands by competition in a market that's not salary capped, you're have the possibility. If McVay does this, Gruden was the highest paid employee at ESPN. Gruden, if McVay does this, and I think it's a vastly more interesting decision, if he's at all life balanced, if he's all like a person who's introspective, holy shit, McVay, get out. Run for your life. That sport is a misery to the addicted. You won. You win the game. Cash out. You can come back whenever you want. Work once a week. Go be with your wife. Enjoy your life. Go have kids. Make a family. You're at the top. You've had the best start ever. I would advise him. Get out and work a few hours a week instead of 16 hours a day. But he loves it. And he better
does love it.
And he better love it because the temptation is coming to have a lot easier life.
Greg, he has to go through all that, right? All the things associated with being an NFL head coach for $8.5 million. Anyone would love that salary, okay? Tony Romo, once a week, $17 million.
Right.
$17 million.
But to Greg's point, the only thing limiting Sean McVay from getting $17 million a season is the imagination of Stan Kroenke.
Right.
Or really, I wonder, the desire of owners to break the coaching market so that every subsequent hire, you're taking your next new head coaching hire from $4 million to $10 million just because Sean McVay is making X amount. And the owners have to expand their minds on what they're willing to pay coaches.
Belichick's at $12.5 million per season. If there's a guy,
it's more than that. No, I've seen it reported as about at where Romo's is. I've seen it reported
17,
that
okay.
both of them are at 17, 18 million a year.
McVay would be the guy, though, right? If you're going to break the bank, give him $20 million, that would be the guy.
If he ran his contract down next year and said, I'm available to the Rams and all of the other teams, every head coaching vacancy can fill it with Sean McVay, I'd be curious what competitive-ass billionaires would go for Sean McVay for.
And if you're trying to rationalize paying Sean McVay that much, let's not forget that the NFL is now incentivizing when these candidates, if they're minorities, are breathing the same air that Sean McVay is, and they get a job. They have Raheem Morris over there. I do think you have to be with the franchise for more than one season to qualify. All of a sudden, those draft picks that Sean McVay's LA Rams have spent to get to where they were just a couple of days ago start regenerating because he's king-making on his own staff.
Let me strip the curtain down on all of this and just present to you guys and the audience this choice, okay? Let's not make it Sean McVay. Let's just talk in more general terms. So this is the hypothetical I'm presenting to you. And this is a question about work-life balance and what makes you happy when you're an aspirational person, when you're a success craver and somebody who snorts the adrenaline of competition is my lord.
It's different for Romo, right? Because he had to stop, right? The game had passed him by.
I mean,
McVay does not have to stop.
Well, but let's not examine. I'd like to just make it broader so the audience considers what the hypothetical is here, because what you just mentioned about Romo, it's not just working once a week, Stugotz.
Which is a slight against what true professionals in that trade actually
You're right. It's
do.
the way I would do it.
And there's travel and everything.
Yeah, those are busy work weeks for
Totally
commentators.
But let's make it, just so that people understand the decision, it's more than once a week, but rhetorically, you're working on television 3 hours a week, and it's only 20 weeks a year. So you got half the year off. It's not off. You got to make some appearances, some speeches. You go to Tahoe, but
where that's not the case with football.
But in football, this is the choice that McVay has. Coaching can be largely a misery. You can be a joyful person, and maybe you enjoy process and teaching, and it doesn't have to be. But it's a lot of I've got to outcompete the other guys, and 16 hours a day. My family doesn't see me. I'm going to sleep at the office. I've got to be obsessed. I don't know the plays that Andy Reid is thinking up this week. I got to work more than the other guy.
It's bad for your health.
It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. It's not 16 weeks. It's all year. It's free agents. It's I've got to build my team. I've got to be obsessed. And then Andy Reid's family life at home goes to complete mess in a way that he tries to be at home, tries to be present, tries not to hurt from the pain, but you're not around very much. Like, it can swallow families rooting for dad to go try and be champion. It's hard. and everyone's competing. It's not that in broadcasting, and Al Michaels is about to do it at $11 million a year at 77 years old. Broadcasting is not that. It's he can show up and be Sean McVay and just cash in for the rest of his life. And the question becomes, how much do you love it? How much do you need to compete? Because you've won at sports today. You can do whatever you want.
He seems to love the hell out of it, though, man. I mean,
but that's your choice. So if I put it in front of you guys, which do you choose? Because I've lived long enough now that I'd choose the latter, and I love the former. Like, I'm working too much. I've been working too much for 30 years. This is great fun. I love it. But I've been working too much for 30 years. I'd like to get on with the rest of my life. Sean McVay gets that choice while getting married in his mid-30s.
right. But giving up his identity, his true identity. He set out to be a football coach, not an announcer.
He won. He's a champion. He's not going. What's he going to do? Beat Belichick?
He wants to win again.
John Madden was champion football coach the entire time he was on television. That part of his identity never goes away.
And he can come back. And
That's it.
He can come back and before if he made the wrong choice, anybody will hire him.
Right.
Well, Madden made this exact decision. Mike is right. It's a great point that Madden made this exact decision. He did it because of family and because it was too much on him to be away from his family that much.
After 4 years in TV, Sean McVay comes back as the most sought-after coach in football. It's as simple as that. He left a champion. He's still young. I mean, he can do it both. He can dip into TV, see where it leads, and then go back to football as a conquering hero.
Jizz.